Yo, what's going on YouTube, Jesus TV? We are here in the Crimmy setup. This is what it's looking like for now. I wish I could have a little better dimensions and whatever on the camera, but it is what it is. We're showing out. That Christmas tree is going to be lit up hopefully by the NBA recap video. I'm going to figure out a way. We have the Jesus TV song. We brought it back. It kind of sucks though because it's like really glary, so it is what it is. I need to move this down though because, yeah, that's good. It's a perfect thing. We got The Walking Dead. We're talking about I'm just going to keep looking down at my computer. It's sitting on my chair here. We're talking about The Walking Dead. We have the 13th episode of Season 5. I'm going to be watching the 3rd episode of The Watcher today. Once The Watcher is over, we're going to return to Dexter. So yeah, let's get into the plot, the critic reception, because I have to go make a TikTok. I have to go watch some stuff to have content for the channel later. We're going to have a movie review later tonight. I'm going to watch some sort of movie, so... Sasha wakes up and glances at several family portraits left behind in her new house. Like, people that lived there before, like, their family portraits are kind of left behind, and it, like, shows something. It kind of gives her, like, these red flags, because it's like, what if these people are just peacefully settling in this town, and all of a sudden, they got, like, ambushed or something. Later that day, she takes them outside the walls to use as target practice. So she takes the family portraits out of her house. Can you all hear me? I hope so. That's great news. Okay. That would have been very annoying if you guys wouldn't have been able to hear me. But, yeah, she, like, uses them as target practice. Finally, she sits down on a tree stump quietly saying to the walkers, "Come and get me." Like, she's ready. She's, like, kind of losing it at this point. I don't know. It's an interesting situation that she's had to deal with. So, yeah. She's kind of losing it mentally. It's interesting for sure. Man, I really wish I could hang my light up like back there on the other supports, but we'll do what we can here. In the woods, Rick, Daryl, and Carol start scheming to steal back their weapons. So like, they took our weapons from us. We're going back in and we're stealing them just so we can protect ourselves. You know, they have trust in this group. They know that this group isn't up to anything too bad, but they want their weapons back just to make sure. A walker creeps up on them, which Carol shoots multiple times before finally killing it to make it seem like they were practicing with it. And not to make it seem like they were just out here killing walkers and causing a fuss and doing shit like that. The trio notices the letter W carved in the walkers' foreheads. Something interesting is happening here. There was like a cult maybe that blew through this area. Something went on. It's definitely not a normal place. Back at Rick's house, he and Michonne discuss the reasons why they've been made town constables and wonder if it's part of a larger plan for this group to kind of like take advantage of them in some sort of way. Yeah. And by the way, I'm like really stressed out about school right now because I still have 81 points. I still need to get 81 points in my grade to get like I know you guys don't really care, but I need 81 points out of 1,000 left to get 81 out of 200 in my remaining points. And although that sounds easy, but holy shit, that class is stressful. Hopefully I passed that. I think I passed physics. I don't know for sure. I know I passed my lab class, but let's just move on there. Elsewhere in the woods, Daryl catches Aaron following him, and together they go hunting. When they come across a black horse Aaron calls Buttons, which he has been trying to catch for months. Like, this horse has been kind of returning to their area, to the region. He's like, man, we need to catch this horse, right? So, yeah. They're trying to catch it, right? The horse is spooked away by some walkers, and later others corner and attack it. So, the horse dies. And obviously the horse that Aaron has been seeking out for months has died. Aaron and Daryl kill the walkers, and Aaron regretfully puts down the mortally wounded horse. Meanwhile, Deanna explains a bit more about Rick and Michonne's job securing the community, like what exactly they're doing, why she's making them do it, you know, that type of thing. She explains that Maggie will be helping her with politics, and her vision is that one day the community will actually have a government and they could run like a mini country or something like that. Well, let me put this like down. I don't know what to do. I don't have the greatest setup here. But let's just move on. Outside, Deanna tells Rick she cannot have everyone walking around with guns. Like, people can't just be casually armed, walking around, being dangerous. Sasha approaches them saying she wants to man the clock tower with her rifle and displays her eagerness to have as many shifts as possible on the tower. Rick endorses Sasha as his group's sniper, but Deanna insists on Sasha attending a welcoming party before considering her further. Like, she has to get to know these people before she gives them, like, the big time roles in the community, which is very understandable. Deanna invites the entire community to the welcoming party, so everyone's just kind of showing up to this party and whatnot. Rick meets Jesse's husband, Peter Anderson, new character played by Corey Burrell, and their son Sam, and later gives Jesse a kiss on the cheek. Jesse's probably going to cheat on her husband with Rick. It looks like the romantic tensions are kind of getting high with these two, so that will be very, very interesting. Daryl skips the party, so Aaron invites him to dinner along with Eric, and shows Daryl their garage full of old motorcycle parts. Aaron tells Daryl that he will need to construct a bike because Aaron wants him to replace Eric as a recruiter for Alexandria. So if he can give him a motorcycle, if he can give him transportation out of the place, he can go out, he can go get some people to help out, you know? Meanwhile, members of the group that attend the party have trouble adjusting to their new surroundings. Abraham and Michonne discuss the difficulty of leaving behind the road and its dangers, and Sasha has flashbacks of her recent traumas and storms out after an outburst. She kind of uses all this pent-up emotion against someone at the party and just kind of lashes out and leaves. While the party is underway, Carol, having already unlatched a window, sneaks into the storeroom where the guns are being held and takes 3 pistols from a bin as well as a small chocolate ration. So she needs to take some guns over for the group so they can try to take over this camp, which obviously they're very fucked up people for doing this. It's obviously not a good thing to do shit like this, but I mean, they're ruthless characters, right? So it is what it is. Jesse's son Sam catches her and says he will tell his mother what he saw, not because he's a snitch or anything. He's like, oh, I gotta be honest with my mother. And at this moment I was like, dude, shut the hell up. Do not do that, right? Carol persuades him to remain silent with the promise of cookies and a threat of tying him to a tree for walkers to eat if he breaks his silence. So Carol, although around the other community she seems like this very innocent girl, with not a lot of motives, she's actually kind of people are starting to learn about her a lot more and get to know her, and she's actually kind of a brutal person. She's kind of adopted some of Rick and the rest of the group's ideals of being ruthless. At their meeting spot in the woods, Carol hands both Rick and Daryl a revolver, but Daryl refuses. He's like, no, I don't want to take this gun. Rick goes for a walk in Alexandria where he sees Jesse and Pete and briefly reaches towards his revolver. He hears a noise from outside the wall and runs in its direction where a lone walker is banging on it from the other side. He thinks something is abrupt. Or not abrupt. Something is afoot, I guess. Is the word I was looking for. Rick puts his hand on the wall and appears to take some satisfaction in reconnecting with the animalistic life outside the walls. So this is kind of a moment of Rick, embracing what's happening. Austin Nichols made his first appearance as Spencer Monroe in this episode. That's kind of a big deal. We're getting into critical reception. We're just getting straight into it. Melissa McBride and Sonequa Martin Green's performances were praised, with many highlighting Carol and Sasha's scenes as memorable. So, yeah, Melissa McBride's been going insane with her acting. She's been doing great in this series, so nothing new there. Positive reviews. The storylines involving Carol and Sasha, those were very attentive and people were very critical of that. IGN gave this episode an 8.6 out of 10. Carol's intimidation of the young boy, Daryl's storyline with Aaron, Sasha's actions, those were all some highlights there. So even though there's no imminent threat at the moment, things within Alexandria are still really intriguing, and you still want to you're very interested in seeing kind of what's going to happen to this place. I didn't disagree with Sasha's feelings towards Alexandria. Carol's scene with Sam was kind of a highlight of the episode. Carol take the cake when she went super dark on that kid, threatening to feed him to the walkers if he told his mom that she was grabbing the guns. What an intense scene that perhaps if you were kind of a casual Walking Dead fan up until this point in the show, it might have you might have thought she was one of the bad guys on the show with her saying shit like this, right? Sasha is kind of like Charles Whitman type of thing. The Texas Tower Sniper. There's interesting comparisons. She should be kept away from the tower completely. The scene involving Carol and Sam was a bit disturbing, but that scene was so strange and memorable that it's almost like you've been watching a fake Carol all these years, and the audience just saw her bona fide psychopath interior seep to the surface. Somehow, even killing those sick people at the prison didn't seem quite as so bad. At least there was a twisted logic there. Carol continues to amaze everybody that watches the show, and she's becoming a more and more likable character as the show goes on. The episode was great. I mean, it had wonderful, subtle touches, things to savor, and understated but confident storytelling, from watching the Grimes clan try to fit into a cocktail party to Daryl and Aaron's bonding through a walker hunting spree. Melissa McBride as Carol. What Melissa McBride is doing with Mrs. Pelletier, with Carol fooling everybody with this Den Mom Junior League act, is simply delicious. The whole thing was a fantastic change of pace. Daryl and Aaron's bond was great. You know, the sympathy that the audience feels towards Sasha. Her situation is kind of just a sad story. Rick's at the table for screwing the entire place up. It's kind of like Lost, you know, seeing our band of survivors cleaned up and wearing Saturday afternoon suburban duds in a halfway civilized setting brought back intense Lost and the Others flashbacks. Perhaps intentional, perhaps coincidental, but it does seem that the Walking Dead writers are enjoying playing with our expectations of the residents of Alexandria. Sasha's problem is fixable. Rick is like the real problem right now, it seems like. Some interesting thoughts. Sasha's breakdown of the party of Alexandria served as one of the episode's biggest moments. A few moments ago in the show, she was eating beans out of a can. Now she's at a dinner party with people eating potato puffs off little plastic swords and drinking beer like there's nothing happening just beyond those corrugated steel walls. But there is. Sasha knows this, and Sonequa Martin Green plays this perfectly. I understand what she's going through completely, and her lashing out makes perfect sense both in ferocity and timing. The direction kind of complements her performance here. The episode's great. This is some ugly stuff. The Carol Sam scene was one of the show's most uncomfortable scenes ever that didn't involve a zombie makeup effect, and has breathed a ton of life into the show after that bumpy start to this half season, where Herschel's farm and even the prison felt like places where the series overstayed their welcome for budgetary reasons. This new old world feels rich and complicated enough that I could see a very long, creatively healthy stretch here, as the arrogance of Rick, the paranoia of Carol, the PTSD of Sasha, all these things slowly cause this paradise to crumble around them. So, very interesting stuff. I don't have a lot to say. I have to get to my TikTok content. I have to go watch some TV and shit, so I can give you guys some videos and whatnot tomorrow. I wasn't able to watch a movie last night. I really wish I was, but I didn't have time. I was studying for finals and stuff. Again, hopefully my classes go well. But I'm out, guys. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe, do all that. Maybe GZTV Live on Twitch, all lowercase. Might do a stream tonight. Usually the streams that aren't on the weekends, most of my friends are like working and shit, so most of the time we're just going to be talking about like news and stuff and discussing things, like a mini podcast like we used to do. I think that's going to be coming back for winter break. I'm not really sure what else I want to do. If someone wants to play like Fortnite or something, let me know. I think that would be fire. But I really hope everyone has a good rest of your day. I also have to watch basketball for the NBA recap tonight, but I'm going to try to get as far into other